A quick video before we get started this coming Monday, which is the 7th of April, for all the new people that have joined and for those that haven't been active and want to understand the process and how we do things, or how I've been sort of doing things. This is a short video just to talk you through, I guess, not so much the expectation, but just the process and just some suggestions on how to get the most out of this sprint. So I'm going to jump into school for a second. So in school, everything you need about Ship30 is here. Everything you need to know about the curriculum, how to write, where to post, it's all here. And that is in the classroom section here, where you've got all of the lectures, the 30-day lectures, and you'll have access to TypeShare if you're new to Ship30 for 30. You'll get TypeShare, which is a publishing platform, and you get to publish that onto LinkedIn, onto X, onto, I think they do Medium, and I don't think they do it on Substack, but there are some other platforms as well that have been added. But all of that is here. And then as far as the frameworks around the methodology, around what to write, how to write, all that sort of stuff, it's all here. The lectures that I have found the most valuable and the ones that I keep going back to is the 2-year test and the for who, so what. The 2-year test is important because it gives you a basic framework on what you should write about. And in that particular lecture, 𝗖cie talks about, the 2-year test going backwards. Like if you were writing to yourself around this particular subject matter that you want to write about, what would you teach yourself? And you can go forwards as well. Like what would you say to somebody, 2 years ahead, or, so that framework is really, really important. And there's an exercise around that, around all the things that you should actually consider writing. And I recommend you do it. Download the PDF, sit down with a piece of paper and just write it. It's a very valuable exercise. The next one is the for who, so what, and that's really about your ICP, your ideal client profile. So who exactly are you writing for and why? Like, so what? Like, why should they care? And then this starts to go into things like, hooks and value and all that sort of stuff. But these two lectures, I think the fundamental grounding pieces of knowledge that you need to sort of anchor in, because without that you just end up, there's no guardrails and you write anything and everywhere. So with that said, all of the how should I write, where should, like, all of that is in here, and we've all got access to it. So come in here to do that. The second thing is, when we start the sprint, I always post the sprints in the discussion chat, and this has evolved over the amount of sprints that I've actually done. So here you can see I've called it, digital sprint. I no longer call it, Ship30 digital sprint run for alum. Like I do call it run, but I call it a digital thing because it is a digital writing sprint. That's what it is. And so here, this is what I've got. I use the same template, and then I've got this little video, I guess you'd call it like a hype video thing. And you'll notice that I've got a comment for each day, and each day I've got, post your daily comment, post your daily below this comment. So the way that you need to approach this, and I do this for a couple of reasons, is that when I post in here, it leaves a breadcrumb of my content within the school community, within the Ship30 community. When new people come in and they see that this particular chat is going off, or there's more going on, there's an opportunity to direct them to my content. So to show you here, so this was the last sprint, and 1/30, I've got here 30 days of content, and then I've got 2 point. I do it this way, you can do it another way. And the reason that I do it this way is because I'm taking on board the philosophies that Cole and 𝗖cie have said. Like, if you click this, what are you going to get? Like, what are you going to get before you actually look? So here, when I click this, it opens up and it goes to LinkedIn. And this was the post for the first one, and it was a video that I did. And the reason that I do it this way is so that as I said, I've left this breadcrumb of just content in the school community. It does a couple of things. It brings people in, and so that they can start writing in a group. The second thing is, I'm going to get new eyeballs on my content that I wouldn't have had exposure to. Are these people my ICP? No, they're not. Maybe they are. I don't know. But what I'm doing is I'm maximizing the community that I'm in to try and get eyeballs onto my content in some way, shape, or form. And that is still important to a certain degree as far as getting impressions and viewership and stuff like that. The way that I do that is once you post on your preferred platform, what I've done is I come into the day. So here we've got day 1/30 on that particular day. I'll hit reply. I'll type in the title. So here I've got 1/30, 30 days of content. I highlight the whole thing. I hit the link icon and I can put the URL in, and there it is. And then I put in, you know, bullet point 1, point 1, point 2, etc. And then I hit reply. The reason that I do it this way is that I want to maintain a certain level of digital hygiene. And if I can maintain a level of just quality across the digital ecosystems that I'm like, you know, littering my content with, it makes it easier for people to actually access my content. And that's why I do it. I have this philosophy now that quality is really, really important. The world doesn't need another minimal viable product, which is just full of just crap. I'm not about perfectionism, but I am about getting quality out there. And that's hard at the beginning because you're defining your skills, you're learning new things, and it's a bit of a headache. So come in here, you like the day, and that helps me realize, okay, I've done this, I've posted it, and then I move on. So you can see I've liked it, and then I've liked my own, and I've liked other people's as well. It just means that I've had a quick look at it. And so that's that. The other thing is that in the chat group, this moves really, really fast. And what's important is not to stay on top of the chat. The thing that's important is to skim quickly as you can and post your daily in here as well. So in the same way that I did 1/30, it'd be 1/30, the name of the thing, and then the URL. And I'd use obviously the URL, the short URL from LinkedIn. Then I move on. Some people are going to like it, some people are not. It doesn't really matter. All I've done is I've just taken it off my plate. I've posted. I'm on to day 2. I'm on to day 3. I'm on to day 4. The key thing here is that in this group, by posting regularly, you keep everybody not so much accountable, but people feel accountable for themselves because they haven't posted. Then they feel guilty. And then sometimes you see people like, oh, day 2, day 3, and they post up twice because they took a day off or something, or they were traveling or whatever, or they were sick. This is not an engagement pod, so you're not encouraged to like anyone's posts. You're not encouraged to give feedback. You're here to just support each other in this group. And if you like that piece of content, great, go and like it. If you don't, that's fine as well. If you want to comment, that's great. If you don't, that's fine as well. The goal here is to create a small sprint group where we're talking, we're chatting like, you know, Clive and Laura and Priya, you can see they're talking here, so that you've got some level of support. We're here doing it together. What we're not doing is we're not creating false engagement. We're not creating this fake level of, you know, I guess support that a lot of people, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of courses out there that are masking a raid as courses, but they're basically paid engagement pods. And you'll see like hundreds of engagements on content that is just absolute rubbish. And so that's not what you want to be doing, because ultimately you're trying to position yourself as an expert in something. And the goal is to create revenue streams off that writing, because you're positioning yourself as an expert around products and services that you can actually offer. And you can't do that if you're going to create this false sense of just hype, and there's no legitimacy to that at all. So that's why I keep coming back to this whole concept of quality, keeping things a certain level and whatnot. Just to take you quickly behind the scenes, every time I do a video, I usually have like this backdrop here. This is my Notion board. So this is obviously the last 30-day sprint that I did, because I'm writing, posting every day, you know, where was it? So this brain image here was the last day of the last sprint, but all these other ones are ones that I've done. This was yesterday's post. I got to get something out today. I'm probably going to post ahead in this sprint. I want to post maybe 3-4 days ahead. I want to do some carousels. I've got to work on my landing page. I've got work to do. So I've got stuff that I need to do. I've got 2 little kids. I got to take them to school. So I've got stuff that I need to do, and I don't have more or less time than anybody else. I just have the same 24 hours that everybody else has. And so I've got to maximize that. So I will probably write 2 or 3 pieces today, get that out. And in the same way, I'll have a pretty image and I'll have some sort of thought leadership or a quote. And as I get into the 30-day sprint, you'll see me doing more and more of this sort of stuff. And then I'll do some videos and stuff like that. The 30-day sprints are very hectic for me because I've got consultancy work that I do and I'm trying to drum up my agency as well. But my sort of, I guess, my thinking around that is that I'm only going to get better if I'm drowning in the work that I need to get through. And that will force me to find efficiencies in my process. That will force me to look for areas of improvement. That will force me to distill insight into what I'm trying to understand and then how I can then position that. And so it's never a case of like, yeah, we'll get there when we'll get there, because time waits for no one. They don't increase your ability to get better or anything like that. You work better under pressure. That's what I think. Having said that, really looking forward to this sprint. We've got a really interesting group of people here. A couple of sprints ago, we had a whole bunch of PhDs and very highly educated people. This time it seems as though we've got some professionals in here. We've got a CEO, we've got some creative people in here. We've got some old hands. We got people writing on Substack. Yeah, so these sprints change all the time. And for me, that's my kids about to come in. That's what this noise is. What these sprints provide for me is an opportunity to learn, distill a little bit of sort of what I've picked up, and it just keeps me sharp. That's the whole goal of this thing. People have asked me previously, what's the goal for this? Like, why are you doing these sprints? And for me, it's like going to the gym. When I write and I write with new people and I meet new friends, I'm going to the gym. I'm exercising certain muscles. I'm making new connections in different parts of the world. I have goals to get to certain parts of the world, with my family on holidays and stuff like that. And if that means that I've made a friend through this writing program, then great. I'm going to hit you up, grab a coffee and say, hey, how you going and stuff like that. Because I think the world's gotten smaller in many ways, but I think it's also gotten a lot bigger in other ways as well. And I think that this writing and this type of community stuff brings us a little bit closer as well. One very last thing. This is a 30-day sprint, and what I want to say is that let's just be respectful for the count. So if you join late, and let's say that you're late, then that's fine. You can start wherever you want. But what we don't do is we don't go past the count. So like it's up to day 30. So on the 7th, it'll be day 1, and we're going to go for 30 days. There are people here that have been, lurking in these groups for a period of time, and they've wanted to post, but they haven't. And so what we want to do is we want to create an environment where everybody is comfortable. They want to post. They want to get involved. In the past, I've dominated the chat a little bit too much. I've realized that. So I kind of back down a little bit and I put in some exercise and stuff like that. But what I want to see is I want to see just people just talking back and forth, and Clive's throwing out some content here, and Laura threw out some content here, and it's good. It's really healthy. It's healthy to get like this lateral sort of discourse going around what we're seeing. And we will have different opinions. We will have different points of view. We will probably dislike. We will probably like all, content that we see. But what's really important is that we all support each other, and we don't have to like or agree with everyone, but we do need to respect everybody, and we do need to create an environment where people feel welcome and are having fun while we're trying to build a business. So with that said, I will see you guys on Monday, and I'll probably do a couple of videos. Also, I would love to do some live calls. We did one, and then I tried to get another one, and I was able to kind of just sort of fell off. But I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 calls during the sprint would be great. We can work out what the time looks like. We can have a little bit more of a format. If we want to talk about some of the content, that's fine. This is a work in progress for me, so I'm just trying to work out what the right balance looks like. But I'd very much like to do a live call, get everybody on there, share insights, get to know each other, that sort of stuff, because community is one of the main things that why I do this as well, because I think it's really, really important, because it's pretty damn lonely on the internet when you're writing by yourself. So with that said, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday for day 1 of 30. If you got any questions, chuck it in the chat. Anyone is welcome to answer that and help, whatever. Post your resources in there, and let's get shipping on Monday. God bless.